Next on Northwest Outdoors, Part 2 at the Fireweed Lodge near Ketchikan in southeast Alaska. Go fishing with Hobart Mans and guide Tim Marshall for halibut, plus some extra surprises.
Welcome to Alaska.
Funding of Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by O'Loughlin Sports Shows. Puyallup, Portland, and the Redmond Sports Shows are proud supporters of public television throughout the Northwest, placing an emphasis on education for the great outdoors. By Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon. Makers of precision tools and cutlery, Kershaw Knives continues to support outdoor programming and outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. Alaska, truly the last great frontier. A visitor doesn't need to go far to enjoy the awesome beauty and incredible wildlife of our 49th state. A dream vacation for most. It doesn't need to be expensive for all. After arriving in Ketchikan from Seattle, a small plane flight takes you to Klawock on Prince of Wales Island. The destination is Fireweed Lodge, right in the middle of some of the best fishing grounds in southeast Alaska. The Pacific halibut in these waters can reach up to a quarter ton or more. These barn doors, as they are called, can be a lot of fun, but most of the guides agree the best tasting halibut are the smaller ones. Alaskan and Oregon fishing guide Tim Marshall and Northwest Outdoors guest host Hobart Mans test the waters for the popular halibut.
Managed to take some line, Tim.
Are you hooked up over there? You must be.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Well, we're getting a little line strip in there, aren't we?
Yep. You know, it's kind of unusual to be out this far. Came around the point. Here we are catching halibut in the ocean on relatively flat water, and we're looking at probably one of the most spectacular rock formations I think we've seen the whole trip up here this time. There's a big cave on the shoreline over there that you know that the southwesterly winds, when they blow the waves in high, going to make the sound of a cannon going off every time a roller goes into that rock formation. And we're looking at the crevices. Oh, he didn't like that at all. He wants to go all the way back down.
You'll have to excuse me because I just got a fish on over here.
Incredible scenery, great fishing. Gonna tire me out. Punch my fun meter on one fish here. But I hope it was that halibut I was looking for. Something in a 30 to 60, 70 pound range.
You getting up pretty close, Hobart?
No.
No?
Not even close. A lot of head shaking, and he doesn't like sunlight.
What a beautiful day. This is Lake Alaska here.
It is.
Lake Alaska, just sitting outside.
Take a look, Tim. Should we keep him or turn him back?
Good choice. We can release him. Well, he's a nice little eater.
That little rascal had some life in him.
These big fish, the big fish, aren't nearly as tender
Well, you're going to have to keep this one.
as the smaller fish. We fish for halibut a couple of different ways up here. One of our ways is bait fishing, which we're doing right at the moment. A little while ago, we were fishing with squid jigs. And a lot of times you'll find when you're fishing with plastics, you'll get short bit. The fish will actually come up and they'll hit the tails and they'll miss your main hook. One of the things we'll do if we're getting short bit is to rig up a stinger hook. Now I've hooked up this stinger hook. This is a 6/0 hook, straight shank, and we've hooked it up by crimping. Now a lot of guys don't have pliers and the wire to do crimping. You can get it in any commercial fisherman's store, but you can do this also with monofilament just by tying a loop in the end, hanging a hook on it, then just take it right over, hang it on your main hook. It'll dangle down, go right in between the legs of the squid. Then the last thing we do, take a piece of copper wire, and you can do this with needle nose pliers just as easily. Take the copper wire, wrap it right around the body, and then crimp it together. Go ahead and cut off your excess. By putting that copper wire around the body of it, it'll hold the hook in place while you're jigging it so it doesn't come back up and hook on your main hook. It's very effective.
Use these salmon rods on those bottom fish. Definitely changes things around because they don't have a muscle in the backbone, and you're dealing with 25-pound test line instead of 60, 80 that you'd be using on a regular halibut rod. So we have to take things a little more gingerly, spend a little more time, do a lot more lifting. Following it here shortly. There it comes. Looks like a little 15-pounder or so.
Good table fare, or would you like to let him go?
Oh, I think we can add that one to the keeper box. He says, don't scratch me that way.
The nice thing about fishing for halibut is when one spot seems to be fished out, you just move around the corner for more great fishing. And the great thing about fishing in Alaska is there's a lot to see on the way. This is an old fish cannery. It just seems to be floating in time.
Prince of Wales Island to me is unique from, you've got 115 streams or something like that on the island, along with, well, like close to 1,000 miles of road.
Yes, it's over 1,000 miles of road, and the catalog streams are, I think, over that, over 100 catalog streams on the island. Just about every single one of them holds trout, and at some point or another, majority of them will hold runs of sockeye coming in, and pink salmon, and chum salmon. We don't have any Chinook salmon that spawn on these islands because they don't have the proper type of beds to support the king salmon. But silvers, chums, pinks, reds.
We caught those last fall,
yes,
and it was an incredible experience then. But this scenery around us, I think, is just really spectacular. You add that to the other things that are here, and there are not too many places in the world that you could go to and encounter all the things that we've seen in a package deal over a couple, 3 days. It's just flat unique.
There really isn't one word that can describe it. People will ask me how I feel about this country, and to me, it's like I feel I'm a tourist every time I come up here. Every single time I come up here, I feel like I'm a tourist when I get off the plane. and I start looking at the scenery and the wildlife, it's new, it's fresh, every time you see it. Awesome. They don't have the word invented yet that would describe what it is like to be up in this country.
Another one of those little table chicken halibut, which is what we've been looking for.
Well, it sure hasn't taken very long to find the fish we need this afternoon, has it, Hobart?
No, it hasn't really. You consider the variety of species, and when we finally decided where the zone was, they were there. Simply a matter of coming out another 20, 30 foot in depth, and there were fish every place.
This time of the year, the small fish, all halibut, move out of the deep. They move up on the shelves, and they start their summer feeding. And this is one area we've just found through trial and error. We seem to have more smaller fish in here at the time.
They come and go in schools, and that happens to be what we're into today.
That's correct.
But the interesting part is that 200 yards one direction or the other, no
There goes
fish.
my rod on the other side. We're doubled up right now. And it looked like it just popped off. No, he is back. He's hooked up. I better go over here and set the hook on this thing.
Time for Tim to go to work. I'll have this up here where I can see it in a little bit. Somebody says it's only down there 150 foot. Maybe the best one of the day, Tim.
Okay, well, come on over and I'll give you a hand with it. That's a little bigger fish.
Yep, he is.
Still a little chicken butt,
Nice.
but it's a good eater.
I'll get that sinker.
Thank you, sir.
I got it.
This is a little Pacific halibut. Hippoglosssus stenus lupus is the Latin name.
Whoa.
Impressive, huh?
It got me.
I may be just a guide, but as you can see, they have a pure white side, and then they have a brown side. This is how they swim. So they actually have a natural covering on them as they're on the bottom. And these fish do tend to school up. We have caught a number of fish this size this day, and I think they tend to stay in their size categories just because they feel more protected that way, probably.
I think it's safety than more than anything else. But generally speaking, if you catch one of a size, they're all going to run that same size. So
They're up here feeding on this shelf. Let's go ahead and put them in the box.
Put him in the box.
That means our limit for the day on halibut.
We're out of here.
We need to unpin the other one.
Fishing next to Tim is fellow guide Smokey and little Josh Anderson, doing a little whale watching while going after their halibut. These humpback whale calves decide to have a little fun. They come so close to the boat, it becomes hard to concentrate on fishing.
He always love to come up a real good one when he does that. Oh, man. He's scratching his back.
I think we got a little rockfish here. Suddenly got a little tougher than just a little rockfish, he says. A little rockfish with his mouth open.
Well, we got a double going, Hobie. Little black bass?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll be
Not
willing to
just
bet that's
necessarily a little
exactly
one.
what I've got.
But a nice one. First of the trip. And there's something you really want to see. Look at the bait fish in that guy's mouth. Isn't that something?
What's he been eating? Needlefish and candlefish.
Needles and candles.
There should be salmon and halibut all around here too.
Yeah. He's a dandy. I did, I got him.
And I've got a little
gonna have
lane
to-
cod that was down feeding on all that bait we saw on the bottom. And him I can release. Hobart caught that little black bass in that bait pod that was on the bottom, and I captured a little lane cod here. It's a small little guy. We're going to turn him loose. Reach in here and shake this hook out of him. They have very sharp teeth, and your camera is getting very wet.
When you come up to the Fireweed Lodge, located on the outside of Prince of Wales Island in Cloaca, Alaska, we have a variety of fish that are available to us during the different parts of the year. In the springtime, we can come up and we can fish the steelhead in the streams. Then we work into the king salmon out into the saltwater through May, June, and July. About mid-June to late June, the cohos start running, and so we end up getting cohos and king salmon through the month of July, and then the cohos get real strong in early August and run through the month of August in the saltwater. Towards the end of August, they start going up into the rivers, and we get to fish them into the rivers till late September into early October. So we get a real long fishing season that way. It usually basically starts in late April and runs into the mid-October. At the lodge, we've got the facility that is able to handle up to 24 fishing guests at a time. We've got 12 rooms, so based on double occupancy, we handle the 24 guests. We've got, at the facility, we have freezer space available for the fish, for the stream fishermen, as well as part of our packages in the saltwater packages, where we do all the vacuum packing and freezing of the fish. We also have a rec room facility that includes a wet bar, big screen TV, and pool table, conference facility for corporate groups, and a main lodge area that looks out over the water and the lagoon. You can watch bear and deer on the beach all the time, and eagles. It's a very picturesque community. We have a recreational court for those that feel like a little outdoor recreation after they've been out playing, and then a hot tub in the evenings to soak your weary bones after a hard day of fishing. We run 6 boats of our own from the lodge, and then we have the ability to add a few more boats. So we run packages of 2 to 4 people on a boat, depending on the package. We try to customize it to the different customers. The most common package and the most economical package is 4 to a boat, and that's the maximum we'll put on a boat. Obviously, if you have less people on a boat, the package gets a little more expensive. But you got a big one there, son.
Yeah, this might be
Either a big king or a big halibut.
might be bigger than the box.
Halibut. Gosh,
I might
22 to
get
shoot
my
this.
harpoon out.
And it might
Get it ready.
need a 22.
We're gonna get the harpoon ready in case it's a big halibut.
What's a harpoon?
That's a spear that we spear through it so that when it we can let it float away with we can tie it off to the boat or onto a buoy, and we don't have to bring it into the boat. Just pull up slowly, slowly. Don't jerk on that. That's right. Okay, now reel down, reel down, reel down. There you go. Just pull up and you reel down.
This is gonna be a long fight.
You got the muscles for it? Slowly. There you go. Now reel down. Attaboy, that's right. I think you got yourself a halibut on there, don't you?
What's next?
Okay, what he's going to do, Josh, remember when he was hand lining it before?
Yeah.
Okay, he's going to do that again because this is a salmon rod and it's too hard to pull it up with this without breaking it. So we're going to have Smokey hand line it up.
Okay.
And as he hand lines it up, you reel, okay?
Okay.
All right, there you go. That's it, reel in.
Doesn't that hurt if it jerks and it's gonna get
Don't
his
worry.
hands?
Keep your thumb off of there, son.
It really doesn't.
That's what we pay him the big money for.
Head coming up.
Halibut.
He's just about a little larger than you, Josh.
Yeah, just a little. Now I know
Yeah,
what to be scared at.
Why don't
Okay,
you
Josh,
back
I want
up,
you to
Josh?
listen. Listen now. Keep reeling.
This is scary.
I'm gonna get him. I want to get him. I know where to get him. If I want.
I know.
You want to take this?
Yep.
You
Oop.
want- It's all right. It's attached. Here, just take this. I don't want his head to come back down. Keep coming up with him.
Holy! That's scary.
See that?
Scary.
Watch out, Bob.
Okay, all right, he's starting to go. He's starting
Scary.
to
Let him go if you want. Don't try to hold him. No. Oh, we dropped that off. It cost us.
go. There he goes.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is this the biggest halibut you ever caught?
Yeah. My biggest one, my only one was a 7-pounder.
7-pounder before this? Now you got a 100-pounder? That's quite a difference.
We want to get him sideways. So
I
keep
know.
coming with
Okay.
it. Straight up, and then we'll slide him over the side.
There he is.
Can't get him that way.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. So much.
I got him down. Yeehaw! I got this back all the way I can.
Hey,
Hey, I put it back all the
That's
way.
all right. That's all right.
It's so I
That's
can.
already broke off.
Oh, we broke off that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure you can pull that up?
That's a big one, man. Look at this.
holy cow.
Next week on Northwest Outdoors, back home in Central Washington. Guest host Herb Lassard talks with Cindy and Doug Knott and learns about the YBCC fly fishing class for men and women.
Showing us up here. For those who who makes these? Where do they come from?
I can't answer that question, and I knew you were going to ask that. I don't know, so. If you could hand me a gaff there, Hobart.
Oh, little gap, big gap.
Oh, never mind. He just decided to go home.
Early release?
Early release.
Well, we didn't want him anyway.
Home he goes. I think I'll open up my soft drink before I put another bait on it.
What do you think? Check out Northwest Outdoors online. Click on www.northwestoutdoors.org. Learn more about this show, notes from the field, guest writers, and a lot more. That's Northwest Outdoors online. Funding of Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by O'Loughlin Sports Shows. Puyallup, Portland, and the Redmond Sports Shows are proud supporters of public television throughout the Northwest, placing an emphasis on education for the great outdoors. By Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon. Makers of precision tools and cutlery, Kershaw Knives continues to support outdoor programming and outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. And by Northwest Dock Systems of Eatonville, Washington. Manufacturers of Herb's pontoon boats, Northwest Dock Systems supports safe and environmentally responsible enjoyment of the outdoors.